Yesterday we have chance to understand as part of this demo too, you people have chance to understand what is OLTP, what is OLAP. Up to 9 points I covered. Due to the timing problem, we are not able to cover the 10th point. Today we'll focus on the 10th point. Then we'll continue with the rest of the things. Okay? Right. So this is the last point, 10th point, what we need to discuss. In this one I am saying as in OLTP, we'll use normalized schema. In OLTP, we'll use normalized schema. In OLAP, we'll use denormalized schema. Now I need to understand why people are using, in case of OLTP, normalized schema only, why they are using. In case of OLAP, why people are using denormalized schema. If I use reverse, then what is going to happen? To understand that point, first I need to understand what you mean by normalized. Let us say I am taking one table here. Let us say I am going to the SQL developer. This was the SQL developer. In SQL developer is a one interface like your SQL plus. We can contact the database. Now here I have so many tables are available. Out of this, one table I am taking that is called as product type table I am taking. In product type table, you can notice here I have one thing that is called as columns. Two columns are available. One is type code, second is item type. And next is available data. If you click on this data, then you're able to see type code is 100, item type is backing, 101 beef, 102 B average, like this available. Now if you observe these all values, any value is duplicating here, sir? No. So any value is not duplicating, that means I can say this is normalized table. Normalized table. If there is no duplicate values, I can say there is no redundancy. If there is no redundancy, I can say straight away this as what, sir? Normalized table. Right. Now this kind of normalized tables, n number of normalized tables, if I group together, then resultant thing whatever we got, that is called as what, sir? Normalized schema. So that's what we are saying here. Normalized schema we are using in OLTP. Normalized schema means what, sir? N number of normalized tables if you use in the one database, then it's called as normalized schema. Now, why we are using normalized schema in OLTP? That's what my main goal. To understand that point, let me go for MS Excel. There I am writing some data. Let us say I am taking one table that is known as product. Carefully listen here, sir. Product type. And I am taking one more table that is called as product subtype. Two tables I am taking here. And in the product type table, I am taking one column as, let us say, product type number. And next one is product type name. Now I am giving product type number is equal to 100 and name is equal, let us say something non-veg. And this is 200 and this is I am giving the name as, let us say, backing. Okay, like this I have some names are available here. Some data is stored like that. Now next table I am taking product subtype table. In this product subtype table, first column is, let us say, product subtype number. Then I am taking here product subtype name, and I am taking here values as, let us say, 101. This is, let us say, 101 corresponding to this one. I can say fish, and I am saying as next one that as 102. I can say this as poultry, I can say 201, 201 corresponding, I can say, let us say some cake, and 202, this is corresponding to, let us say, some kind of a pizza. So this is what the data, what it is available in the subtype table. Now I have here two tables in your hand. Please let me know these two tables are normalized tables or denormalized tables. Normalized tables only. If you go and see this one carefully, there is no duplicates are available here. That is the reason it is normalized table. If you go and see this table, here also there is no duplicates. So this also normalized table. Both are normalized tables only available. Both are normalized tables only available. Okay. Now I am creating one more table. I am creating. The table is looking like this. Product type name. Then I am taking here product subtype name. And I am going for next one like this data I am taking. Tell me this data duplicates are available or not, sir? In this data I have duplicates or no duplicates? I have duplicates. As I have duplicates, can I say it is a denormalized table or normalized table, sir? It is a denormalized table. It is a denormalized table. Now, if people understand very clearly one point, that is called as these two things are normalized tables, and this is called as denormalized table. This is called as denormalized table. Okay. Now, what is my problem is now, let us say I have one business requirement. I have one business requirement. What is my business requirement is, I want to run my business. If I want to run my business, then I need to update my information. Yes or no, sir? I need to update my information. Okay, due to some XYZ reason, this non-veg whatever available, I want to change this non-veg value whatever available, I want to change that as NV. This was the small change what I need to do. Non-veg wherever available, I want to change as NV. Non-veg wherever available, I want to change as NV. Simple change. Now this change I am giving freedom to you. The change you can do using these tables, or you can do using these tables also. Now tell me which is the best way of doing it. If you do here, the performance will be good, or if you do here, the performance will be good. Yeah, if you do in normalized table, the performance is good. Why, sir? Number one reason, here properly primary key is available, properly index is available. Okay, in the data warehouse, we are not going to, in the denormalized table, we are not going to maintain proper index columns. That is the one reason. So, reading one record is very quick and updating one record is very quick if I go for the normalized table. And second reason, if I change here, I need to change in only one place. But whereas if you change here, you need to change how many places? 2 places you need to change it. 2 places you need to change it. So if people have clarity now, if you want to update something, performance is good in normalized tables or denormalized tables, sir? Normalized tables. Update is required to run our business. Running business purpose, we are using a database. The database is known as what, sir? OLTP database. Hence I can say OLTP database requires normalized tables or denormalized tables, sir? Requires normalized tables. That's what we are saying as in OLTP we'll use normalized schema. Next point, next business requirement. I need to develop a report, sir, which contains this is what the data I am expecting. This is what the data what I am expecting. Okay, this is what the data what I expected. Now I want product name, then I want product subtype. This is what the two things what I want. Product name and product subtype. Now tell me, if I want to develop this report, means I can develop in two ways. I can develop this report. One way is One way is I can go to directly here. I can get this total data. I can get this total data and I can develop it. This is a one way. Another way is I can populate some foreign key column here. That means whatever product type number is available, same thing I can populate here accordingly. Once I populated this table and this table, I can join based on the primary key foreign key relationship. Then whatever result we got, that result we can pass to the target table. I mean a report. This was the second way. Which is the best way if you take the performance is the picture. If you take into the performance is the picture, which is the best way of doing it? If you go for denormalized tables, there is no join condition. That is the reason performance is good or not, sir. If you go for the normalized tables, it has to validate using join condition. This record is equal to what record here? Because of that one, time is consuming or not? Time is consuming. So because of this join condition, your time is consuming. That is the reason we are recommending developing a report from the denormalized tables is recommended than the normalized tables. And developing reports is nothing but we are trying to read the data from database. Reading data from database is main requirement for the database. What type of database, sir? OLAP. That's what we are saying as in OLAP we need to use what's a denormalized schema. In OLAP we need to use denormalized schema. So now one point is very clear for us. Always in OLTP we need to go for normalized schema. In OLAP, we'll go for what's a denormalized schema. Why you are going for is here update is the main criteria. In OLTP, even though we are inserting record, deleting record, updating record, reading record, out of these 4 activities, regularly day to day, what you are doing, sir? Updates. Inserting a customer number, bank account number, maybe one day you are doing it. Deleting maybe one day you are doing it. In between what, sir? Lot of times you are going to update it. Update is the main criteria to run our business. Update is very easy if I go with the OLTP. And reading is the main criteria. Reading is very easy. If I go for what's that? OLAP. Okay? Right. That point is very clear. That's what I want to discuss about the OLTP versus OLAP. Now let me recall quickly what we discussed. DSA stands for Decision Support System. DSA stands for Decision Support System. Okay. Now let us recall quickly 10 points. What are the 10 points to discuss? This first point. OLTP is useful to store what's a transactional data, whereas OLAP is useful to store what's a analytical data. Next, OLTP contains what type of data? Current data and detailed data, whereas OLAP contains what, sir? Historical data and summarized data. Next, OLTP is useful for the purpose of running the business. OLAP is useful in the purpose of what, sir? Analyzing the business. OLTP supports 4 functionalities. One is creating the record, reading the record, updating the record, deleting the record. OLAP supports one functionality that is called as reading the records. Next, in OLTP, the database are separated as per application. Hence, we are calling it as application-oriented database. Whereas in OLAP, one type of tables are grouping under one area. That is the reason it is called as subject-oriented database. Next, in OLTP, we used to change the data. Hence, it is called as volatile. Whereas here we will call it as what, sir? Non-volatile. In OLTP, the data time is fixed, whereas the data time here is what, sir? Keep on changes. That is the reason time is variant here. And in OLTP, number of users are more. All the employees, all the customers are using it. Whereas in OLAP, only middle-level management and high-level management are using it. OLTP database are isolated. That means one is separate with another. Whereas OLAP database is what, sir? Integrated. In OLTP, we'll use normalized tables as updates are very important for us. Updates will be very easy if I go with the normalized tables. In OLAP, we'll use denormalized tables. In OLAP, reading is main criteria. Reading is very easy if I go with the denormalized tables. That's what the purpose. Am I clear? OLTP versus OLAP. If really you understand this OLTP versus OLAP, here I require 4 properties, sir. One is subject oriented, second is non-volatile, third is time variant, fourth is integrated. These 4 properties are very important properties. These 4 properties also called as data warehouse properties or data warehouse characteristics. Why it is called as data warehouse properties or data warehouse characteristics is, if I given one database to your hand, if any database is supporting these 4 properties, I can certify that as what's a data warehouse. Now, let us move on to the next one. Next one is history of the data warehousing. History of the data warehousing. Right. How did data warehousing into existence? Take a brief look at the history of the data warehousing to understand its evolution. Have a look on diagram. Have a look on diagram. Right. By seeing this diagram, now you need to understand one point. That point is pre-1970. That means what, sir? Before 1970. Before 1970, we used to maintain before 1970, there was no automated decision making system available. All the information we used to make in the format of what, sir? Files format. Next, in the year of 1970, key elements of mainframe data were copied to tab for loading to the files. So this was the mainframe environment what we used it to store the data. Now in the 1980, we slowly come up with one concept that is known as DBMS, Database Management System. So we used to store the data in the database management system by using a number of clients and server architecture. Now, in the 1990, these islands of data, that means different data, were copied into common location that is known as data warehouse as born. Okay, yesterday also, Google search engine data, YouTube search engine data, and those all things are trying to copy into the data warehouse. Yes or no, sir? So islands of data is nothing but different data we used to copy into single location. That's what the data warehouse is, came into the existence. And this data warehouse discovered or invented by 2 members. One guy is called as Bill Inman. Second guy is called as Rolf Kimball. Bill Inman and Rolf Kimball. Hence, these 2 guys are called as fathers of data warehouse. Now, as for the Bill Inman, what he's saying is any subject-oriented or integrated or time variant and non-volatile collection of data is called as what, sir? Data warehouse. That means if I go and if I given one database to this guy hand, then what he is going to say is, this database, whatever you given, is it organized? The data is organized internally as for the subjects or not? This is sales subject, this is finance subject, like that, organized or not? If yes, that property is pass. They're integrated. If you say sales means the sales corresponding to all the applications you are storing here only or not? It may be Google Plus application, or it may be YouTube application, or it may be something else application. Everything is available under this one or not? If yes means integrate also pass. Time variant. If I given 1 month of data, if I want to store 2 months of data, or if I want to store 3 months of data or 4 months of data, your database has capability to store it or not? If yes, then I can say that also pass. Then last one, non-volatile. One day you entered one record here. Are you maintaining that one constant or not? If yes, then I can say it's what, sir? It's a time variant, non-volatile also. If there is any database satisfying these 4 properties, straight away you can call the database as what, sir? Data warehouse. That's what we used to define. Any database which is subject oriented, integrated, time variant and non-volatile, then it is called as data warehouse. However, whatever definition is available, this definition normally called as technical definition. This definition called as what, sir? Technical definition. Why it is called as technical definition is, suppose one business user came and asked about the what is data warehouse. If you define like this, I don't think so you can understand it. Even you people also cannot understand if you don't know these all words means. Yes or no, sir? Yesterday we discussed these all words. That is the reason today you are able to understand what it means by subject oriented, non-volatile, time variant and integrated. So this is purely called as technical definition. Whereas Rolf Kimball given one generic definition. This is called as generic definition. Anyone can understand it. What he's saying is, transaction data whatever you have, daily whatever transaction data you are getting, that one we are specifically structured. That means specifically organizing, specifically arranging. In such a way, it is useful for answering your queries. Whatever questions you have, that questions I am going to answer. And also it is useful for the purpose of analysis. Data warehouse means nothing, sir. Whatever regularly you are getting the transactional data, that transactional data only I am going to organize in such a way it is useful for what, sir? Answering the questions. Second is useful for the analysis purpose. Like that we are going to organize it. Simply what is saying is, we learned two types of data is available. One is what, sir? Transactional data. Second is what, sir? Analytical data. We are going to convert this transactional data into analytical data in such a way analytical data is useful to analyze our business. So this is understood by everyone. So that is the reason it is called as generic definition. It is called as technical definition. Now, next one is conceptual wise. If you go and see, I have here one Gmail application is available. From Gmail application, data is directly coming into the data warehouse or it is going to the OLTP, sir? It is going to the OLTP. From OLTP we are getting what, sir? From OLTP we are getting OLAP we are getting. Yes or no? From OLTP we are getting OLAP. That means first time it is loading data into the OLTP. Then it is going to the OLAP. That's what we are saying as second-hand data that originates in other corporate applications or some external data sources. So whatever data is available here, the data is coming from OLTP. It is coming. That is the reason it is called as second-hand data. First time it is loading into the OLTP. From this OLTP, we are getting the data warehouse. That is the reason it is called as second-hand data. And formal, standalone repository of information. Yesterday I said one point. Our data warehouse will available only one data warehouse available for any customer, right? For any customer, you may have a number of OLTP databases, but only one what, sir? OLAP is available. Only one data warehouse is available. So whatever information you want, it may be relevant to the sales, it may be relevant to the marketing, or it may be relevant to the service or HR, whatever it is. I am going to answer that one. That's what we are saying as standalone repository of information. That means entire information is available. That's what we are calling it as data warehouse, also EIM. EIM stands for Enterprise Information Management. Okay, standalone repository of information integrated from several heterogeneous operational databases. What do you mean by heterogeneous? If I take in one Oracle database, I take Oracle database 1 and other database I take in, this is called as Oracle database 2. If the properties of these two Oracle databases are same, if these two properties of Oracle database are same, then I can say these two things as homogeneous. Homogeneous. Suppose I taken here Oracle database I taken, and I am taking here SQL Server database I am taking. The properties of these two databases are different, yes or no? Hence, these two databases are called as what, sir? Heterogeneous. Heterogeneous. Any two objects, simple words, what I can say is any two objects, properties are same, hence it is called as homogeneous. Any two objects, properties are different, then it's called as what, sir? Heterogeneous. That may be database level, that may be simple column level, that may be table level, that may be anything else also. Anything else also. Now, normally in the data warehouse, we used to get the data from different databases. We used to get the data. Some data may be coming from float files. That means like notepads, comma separated values, XML files, those all things. Some data may be coming from your Oracle database. Some data may be coming from your SQL Server database also. Am I clear? Right. Okay, now you people understand what you mean by formal. Standalone repository of information integrated from several heterogeneous operational databases. Out of these all definitions, as an interview point of view, you need to learn. This is the one definition, you need to learn it. What do you mean by data warehouse? As for the Bill-in-Mon, the data warehouse is what, sir? Any database which is subject oriented, integrated, time variant and non-volatile collection of data, then it is called as data warehouse. These are the definition what you need to deliver in the interview. Now, next point. We were discussing about the data, then databases, that is done. Now we need to go for how the data warehouse or database flow will be there. What are the different objects are available? You need to understand. If you go and see the different objects, first we have the columns. Yes or no, sir? Columns. N number of columns will be available inside a table. N number of tables will be available inside a schema. N number of schemas will be available inside a database. So employee number, e-name is available in EMP. EMP and DPD is available in the SCOT schema. SCOT and supply to is available in ORCL database. This is how the architecture of the database will be there. Now I need to understand what are the different columns are available. What are the different tables are available. What are the different schemas are available. Already you people are aware of it. What are the different types of databases are available. How many types of databases are available, sir? Two types. One is OLTP, other is OLAP. Now I need to focus on what are the different columns are available, tables are available, schemas are available. Right. Let us go for the first one, that is called as what are the different types of columns are available. Observe screenshot carefully and notice here how many types of different symbols are there. How many types are there, sir? 3 types are there. Okay, that is perfect. Now, this is called as key column. Key symbol is available. This is called as string or descriptive column. This is called as measure column. Now my point is, if I go and compare the data types of the database, a number column, whatever available here, this is data type might be what, sir? Number. And this is string, right? String data type may be what, sir? Varchar. Even the date column also we are identifying as what, sir? String or descriptive only. And any other number type is also called as what, sir? Measure. So a number may be a key column, a number may be what, sir? A measure column. A number may be a key column or a number may be a measure column. For example, I am going to the existing someone's RPD I am going. Let us say I am opening here Oracle Business Intelligence, then BA Administration. Then, yeah, we come to understand what is RPD, these all things. Let us go for open offline. Don't try to understand the navigation, sir. Just understand the point only. I am going for, let us say, batch number is B198 batch I am taking. In the B198 batch, what is the latest RPD? This is what the latest one is available. I am opening it. RR capital, I take small 1, 2, 3. Now, if you go and see, they did so much of work they did. Now, if you go and expand here supplier sales, let us say I have here some columns are available in the sales fact. These all columns are available. And if you go and expand, let us say customers, I have so many columns are available here. I am taking customer key corresponding column, right click and go for display related, query related objects, physical column. Click on go to. Now, that means this new key is equal to what, sir? Customer key. We renamed here, that's it. Customer key, backend, what is available is new key is available. Okay. Now, what is the new key data type, sir? Integer. But here it is showing as what, sir? Key symbol. It's showing as key symbol. Now, here I have one column, unit ordered column. Right click on this one, then query related objects, then go for physical column. Click on go to. Now we have unit ordered is available. Now you see what is this one, sir? Double. Double also one type of number or not, sir? Biggest number is called as double data type. Yes or no, sir? Right. So this also falls under the number data type only. That one we are treating here as what, sir? Measure. That means a number data type may be a key column, maybe a measure column. Yes or no? Now when I need to call that as a key, when I need to call that as a measure, I need to understand. Okay, that is the one question. Second, I have here state column. State column is what, sir? Varchar. State column here showing as what, sir? It is a string. So there is no confusion. There is no confusion with the varchar things. Varchar things is compulsory what, sir? String or descriptive. Only confusion is what, sir? With the number. A number column may be a key column. A number column may be a measure column. A number column may be a key column. A number column may be a measure column. At least if I given this tool to your hand, if I am asking you to identify which are the columns are key columns, which are the columns are measure columns, which are the columns are string columns, you are able to identify very easily by seeing the symbols. Yes or no, sir? By seeing the symbols, you can identify very easily. Okay, but if I given one MS Excel sheet to you, I am giving one MS Excel sheet to you, and I am writing here some data, let us say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, something I written like this data I written. Now tell me this data is corresponding to string or key or measure. This one you can tell very easily. Why? Because this total is what, sir? String data, so it is called as string. That is okay. Now I am writing here one more thing. Let us say 10, 20, then 30, something I written like this. Then this is 100, 200, then 300. Now tell me this is a measure column, this is a number column or measure column, number column or measure column. Which is number or which is measure column? Are you able to tell? No. We are not sure which is number column, which is measure column here. I mean, which is key column, which is measure column, we are not sure. Which is key column, which is measure column, we are not sure. A number may be key column, a number may be what, sir? Measure column. That is the reason we are not sure it. Suppose you are right, I am writing here DEPT number I am writing. Second I am writing, let us say commission I am writing. Now can you tell it which is a measure column, which is a key column, sir? DEPT number is, by seeing the column name we are saying as it is a key column. By seeing the column name we are saying as what, sir? It is a measure column. That much of common sense we have actually. Okay, suppose if I given some kind of unknown column names I given. I am giving here the name as integration ID I am giving. Integration I am giving. This one I am giving as, let us say, ACTL, EXTND I am saying. These column names we are not aware of till this point of time. Yes or no, sir? First time we are seeing. That is the reason we cannot give the guarantee which is what. Yes or no, sir? Right. So what I would like to say is, by seeing the titles of the columns, you cannot justify. You cannot justify this column is key column, this column is measure column like that. Now what is the way? What is the way? What is the way is, if you go and observe, let us say, if I am trying to sum up this column, I summed up. And also I am trying to sum up this column also, I summed up. Tell me, is it 60 is going to useful to answer any business question, sir? No one from the childhood, you may be seeing like student number onwards, no one is summing the student number. But everyone is summing the student fee column. Yes or no, sir? Why? Because After summing the student number, whatever result we got, that result is not going to help you to answer any business question. Whereas student fee column, after summing whatever result we got, that result is going to help you to answer business question. Okay, so now one point is clear. That point is after summarization, a numeric column is giving valid information, then it is called as what, sir? Measure column. Else it is called as what, sir? Key column. After summarization of a numeric column, if that information is useful to answer any business question, then it is called as measure column. If it is not useful to answer any business question, then it is called as key column. Anyhow, in our OBIEE, how many columns are there? 3 columns are there. What are those, sir? Either key column or what, sir? Or string column or revenue column. Measure column. Okay, these are the 3 types of columns are available: key, string, and measure. Right. To understand better more about this measure, see this diagram once. More about that measure to understand, I am going for one diagram. See this one. This is what the meaning of measure. Something you can calculate it. If you see here, I given symbolically, this is what I given. So if you go and see some of the measures examples, sales revenue is what, sir? One measure. Profitability is what, sir? One measure. Net profit is what, sir? One measure. Gross margin is one measure. These all things are called as measures. Facts or measures are sometimes used to call as facts, also we can call it as. Facts or measures are the key performance indicators, KPI, key performance indicator, KPI of an enterprise. Suppose if I given about my institute, you want to understand it is running smoothly or badly. To understand that one, if I give only one parameter, what is my expenditure, what is my revenue? If these 2 columns I given to you, you are able to justify my institute is going in the profitability mode and the loss mode. Yes or no, sir? That means I can say expenditure and revenue are what, sir? My KPIs. Based on this one, I am going to decide how the enterprise is doing, how the company is doing. Right. Next one. This is most of the times it is what, sir? Numbers only. Not most of the times, 100% it is what, sir? Numbers. And it can be what, sir? Summarized. It can be summarized. If I want, let us say, total revenue I want. If I want, let us say, net profit, total profit I want. And the product of fans, how much profit? And the product of, let us say, something else, how much profit I want to understand. I can sum up all the profits or not, sir? I can sum up all the profits of the products. Now, if people understand what you mean by measure column, If people understand what you mean by measure column. Now let us move on to the next one, that is called as tables. How many types of tables are available? Tables are divided into only 2 types, sir. One is called as dimension tables, second is called as fact tables. However, internally dimension tables again divide into some other tables, fact tables also again divide into some other tables. But high level in data warehouse we have only what, sir? 2 types of tables are available. One is called as dimension tables, second is called as fact tables. One is called as dimension tables, second is called as fact tables. Now, dimension tables, these are the dimension tables whatever available. And fact table means this is what the fact table. Observe here one symbolically some difference is there. What is the difference, sir? Symbolically some difference is there. What is the difference, sir? Here ash is available. For these 3 things, ash is not available. Now, based on this concept, I think you can identify now out of these all tables, which are the tables are dimension tables, which are the tables are fact tables, right? I have here what, sir? Commission fact, returns, sales fact. These 3 things are what, sir? Fact tables. Remaining all are what, sir? Dimension tables. And one more point is, in the fact table, always will have only one column. The columns are what, sir? Measure columns. And you may have some key columns also. You may have what, sir? Some key columns also. But there is no what, sir? String columns. There is no string columns. Most of the times we'll maintain in a fact table what, sir? Measure columns plus key columns. This is what the combination is available. In the dimension table, you have what, sir? Key columns plus string columns will be available. Key columns are common in the dimension table or fact table. To identify a record uniquely, we require what, sir? A key column is required. Key columns are common in the dimension table and the fact table. It is available. Okay, key columns plus string columns combination is called as dimension table. Key columns plus measure columns combination is called as fact. These are the standard definitions. But sometimes your database architecture is not good. You can see key, string, measure, all three together also you may be seeing it. Okay, but standard way means what, sir? This is what the standard way. Right. If people understand that point, let us go and try to see this one. See this diagram. Sorry. This one you are asking. This is okay. This is actually a hierarchy. It is a hierarchy. This one you come to understand later point of time. You are asking about this one, right? This is called as hierarchy. How many levels are there in that one? Parent-child kind of hierarchy. Okay, that we will discuss later point of time. This one we built on top of these customers. On top of these customers. Using customer columns only. If you see a region column is available here. Using these columns only, I build this one. Okay, what is that one? You come to understand later point of time. As of now, if people understand, in our data warehouse, mainly, how many types of tables are available? Two types of tables are available. One is dimension tables. Second is fact tables. To understand better, let us go and see this slide. Let us go and see this slide. This is fact table. In the fact table, what majorly available, sir? Majorly what available, sir? Only key columns are available. Then what is available, sir? Measure columns are available. Always in the fact table, we'll maintain two types of things. One is key columns, second is what, sir? Measure columns. And one more point also here you need to understand. Day code. Day code is what, sir? It is a primary key in the timetable. Product code. Product code is what, sir? It is a primary key in the product table. Customer code. It is what, sir? It is a primary key in the customer table. Employee code. It is a primary key in the employee table. That means whatever dimension tables are available, that dimension table's primary key is coming here and staying here and acting as a together as what, sir? Primary key. All these four together is acting as what, sir? Primary key. Primary key. So what I would like to say is, in the fact table key columns, we are getting from where, sir? We are getting from dimension tables. Okay. Contains columns, dimension keys and measures we are going to contain. What do you mean by dimension? Once my business user having some revenue here, this is what the revenue. This revenue I got from where? This revenue, whatever I hold it, I got from where? That's what my question. Then if I turn my head back, I need to understand what I sold and I got this money. And whom I sold this, I got this money. And when I sold this one, I got this money. And where I sold this, I got this money. These are the business questions are available. What was sold means what, sir? I want to know product information. What is my product name? That means that is the one dimension. And whom was it sold? That means what, sir? I am looking for what, sir? Customer information. That is also one dimension. This is a product dimension. It is a customer dimension. And when was it sold? That means what, sir? Time dimension. Is it Monday or Tuesday or what is the date? What is the year? What is that one? And where was it sold? It is a geography dimension it is. In Hyderabad is sold, or in California is sold, or in Texas City is sold. Now, if people understand what you mean by dimension, what, when, where qualifies to the measures. And one more point I want to tell, without this dimension, fact is useless, sir. Fact is useless. I mean to say, let us say I am developing one report, sir, new analysis. I am developing one report. Here I am taking one column. That column is called as dollars column. I take and click on the results. I got some number. What is this number? How you are saying that one? You are saying as grand total you are saying, right? How you are saying that one? Nowhere I commented that one. Yes or no, sir? Nowhere I commented that one. Right? Now, yeah, you cannot say this as total dollars because nowhere I commented that one. Now, if I add one dimension here, let us say I am adding one dimension, reason I am taking here, and I am trying to put reason beside this dollars. Now, it has more meaning or not, sir? Okay, in this central region, I got this many dollars. In this east region, I got this many dollars. In the west region, I got this many dollars. Okay, similarly, if we add here year column also, then we are going to get more clarifications also. In this year, in this region, I got this much of amount. Okay, if you want to understand customer level, you can add the customer name also here. Then you come to understand, okay, in this year, in this region, from this customer, I got this much of amount. And what I sold, if I want to understand, then I can go for what I sold also. I can add here generic description of the product. Then I come to understand, in the 1998 year, in the central region, okay, customer name is what, so this was the customer name. And this were the slices I sold out, this was the revenue. Now it has more meaning or not, sir? Now, what I mean to tell is, whatever measure we have here, this measure is giving more meaning. What, sir? Whenever I have dimensions. Only measure column is available. I don't think so. We can talk about much about that one. We cannot talk much about that one. But whenever dimension and measure both combination is available, then we can understand very clearly. We can understand very clearly, and we can talk more about that one. That's what we are saying. This point here. The point is, what, when, and where qualifies the measure. Okay, measure is going to get the more meaning whenever I am able to answer these all questions. Dimension could be what, sir? Products. Dimension could be customers, time, geography, etc. Anything is called as dimension. Anything is called as dimension. Now we got more clarity in a simple words. In a simple words, I am saying here one definition. If a table contains at least one measure column, then it is called as what, sir? Fact table. Else it is called as what, sir? Dimension table. Any one table which has no measure column, then I can say as what, sir? Dimension table. A table it contains at least one measure column, then I can say as what, sir? Fact table. That's what the simple definition. Now, by this time, you people understand identifying the dimension tables and fact tables. Yes or no, sir? Identifying the dimension tables and fact tables, and what do you mean by key column, what do you mean by string column, what do you mean by measure column. And what is the relationship between these dimension tables and fact tables also? Yes or no, sir? What is the relationship between dimension tables and fact tables? Dimension tables primary key is going to act as a here. What, sir? Foreign key is going to act as a foreign key here. If you want more clarity on that one, down the line we are going to discuss. In this slide I am going to discuss it. Okay, as of now, leave that one. You people understand we have two types of tables. One is dimension table, second is fact table. If I have at least one measure column, then it is called as fact table, else it is called as dimension table. Next point, schema. A group of data is called as one column. We are storing a group of data in the one column. A group of columns are available under one table. A group of tables are called as what, sir? Schema. A group of tables are called as schema. Your SCOT schema, we are saying employee, DPT, salary is all together are available in the SCOT schema. Okay, so a group of tables are called as schema. These schemas are divided into three types. One is called as star schema, snowflake schema, constellation, or mixed schema. These are the three types of schemas whatever available. Now, first one is available, that is called as star schema. What do you mean by star schema? Right. Star schema, this is what the star schema meaning. This is what the star schema more about we are going to understand, and it is very, very important, sir. Mandatorily need to understand one by one point all these points. Okay. Right. Please see the diagram first. Please see the diagram and tell me what is your understanding. Yes, what is your understanding by seeing this diagram, sir? Okay. First point is in star schema, how many fact tables will be available, sir? Only one. Always only one. How many dimension tables will be available, sir? N number. N number. And fact table is always located where, sir? Center and surrounded by a number of dimensions. That is what I am saying first point. Organize data into a centralized fact table with surrounding by what, sir? A number of dimension tables. A number of dimension tables. If that kind of look and feel is there, that is called as star schema. That is called as star schema. Second, each dimension row has many associated fact rows. Each dimension row has many associated fact rows. What is the meaning of that one? See this diagram to understand that more. See this diagram and try to identify first here what are the dimension tables are available and fact tables are available. This is dimension or fact, sir? It is a dimension. What about this one? What about this one? What about this one? Fact. Now I have here 3 dimensions are available. Centralized fact table is available. The overall this is called as star schema. Sales fact table with dimension tables and relationships. Now if you go and observe here I have key column. This is what, sir? Key column. Also I can call this as primary key column. Also I can call this as primary key column. And remaining all are what, sir? Nominal informations. And here I have the key column. This is called as what, sir? Primary key column. Here also I have the key column. This also called as what, sir? Primary key column. And whatever primary key column is available here, that is available here or not, sir? So this is called as what, sir? Foreign key. And whatever available is this one, this is available here. This is also called as what, sir? Foreign key. Whatever available here, that also available foreign key. That means what, sir? In dimension table, primary key is going to act as a foreign key in the fact table. Foreign key in the fact table. You know, while loading the tables from the OLTP to OLAP, first we are going to load dimension tables or fact tables, sir? Huh? Yeah, that's correct. First we are going to load what, sir? Dimension tables are going to load it. Once we loaded the dimension tables, in the dimension tables, whatever primary keys are available, those things we are going to look up. And once you look it up, whatever values are available, the key values are available, same values are going to populate into what, sir? In the fact table. That means what I would like to say is, first we are going to load the dimension table, second we are going to load the fact table, So in the dimension tables, whatever primary key is available, that is going to act as what, sir? Foreign key in the fact table. That is the main point. Next point. See here, one customer is available here. That customer is called as AK Parker. This customer record came here once. What is the meaning of this record, sir? 17023 customer, that is AK Parker. On the day of 1/1/2004, for the product, what, sir? Super widget product. How many quantity added, sir? 5 quantity added. And how many quantity already we delivered, sir? 4 we delivered. What is the amount he paid for that? 100 he paid for that. Now, if people understand how the data we are storing here. Suppose tomorrow someone came and asked one question. This 5 quantity added by whom? I have the answer or not, sir? By whom means AK Parker. When means what, sir? 1/1/2004. And for what? What means what, sir? Super widgets. I have answer or not, sir? I have answer. Now, next point. This customer is going to give only one transaction, or you may have a number of transactions, sir. A number of transactions you may have. If you see here, same customer 17023 is available here also. And different day for the different product, he added something else. Yes or no, sir? That means dimension table 1 record is mapped with a number of records in the fact table. Yes or no? That is in your regular life also true, right? Morning, you boarded to an hotel. Immediately the hotel guy is going to register your name as customer, right? Immediately you're ordering for tea, one transaction. Then breakfast, one more transaction. Lunch, dinner. So one customer, we have what, sir? 4 transactions are available. Same way product also. I am selling here, OBAW is the one product I am selling. You people all are ordering for that one. Can I say for one product, I have here a number of orders? Yes. So what I would like to say is, any dimension corresponding, we have what, sir? A number of transactions in the fact. A number of transactions in the fact. Okay, right. Now you people understand that one very clearly, and this is what the point what I am saying. Each dimension row has many associated what, sir? Fact rows. Next row. Dimension tables do not directly relate to each other. What is the meaning of this one? If I go and observe this dimension table and this dimension table, do I have any direct join here? No. Do I have any direct join any of the dimension tables? No. Each and every join condition is going via what, sir? Via fact table only it is going. Via fact table only it is going. Via fact table only it is going. Right. That's what we are saying as dimension tables do not directly relate to each other. This is one of the important properties, sir. Please remember, in the star schema, we won't have what, sir? Direct join between dimension tables. Next one. All dimension tables are what, sir? Denormalized tables. Why, sir? Why you are using denormalized tables? Because denormalized tables are optimized to what, sir? Read data. Optimized to read it. Today only we discussed that one, right? Morning, we started with that only. In the normalized tables are useful for what, sir? Updating information. Denormalized tables are useful for what, sir? Reading information. Next. See here, by seeing this one, it is very user friendly or not, sir? It is user friendly or not, sir? Models, the way user think about the data, whatever way I am thinking. Okay, I'm holding my some money in my hand, and I'm rotating my head, and I'm asking who given this money. Okay, for what he given this money? When he given this money? The answers are available or not, sir? That is, it is user friendly. Whatever user is going to ask the questions, same questions wise I stored the data here. That's what I am saying here. Models the way users thinks about the data. Now, here I have the product and sales. Let us say product related sales. What are the questions may be there, sir? Revenue, units sold, units shipped. By what, sir? By product I am storing. Here by customer we are storing. By program, by time. Like that we are storing. So it is user friendly. Enables data to be understood and analyzed very easily. That's what we are saying as it is user friendly and easy to understand. User friendly and easy to understand. Now, in OBAW BMM layer only we are going to use what, sir? Star schemas we are going to use it. Small correction here. Star schemas are mixed star schemas. Please write, sir. Star schemas are mixed star schemas. Star schemas are mixed star schemas. In OBA BMM layer only star schemas. In OBA BMM layer star schemas and mixed star schemas are used. In OBA BMM layer star schemas are and mixed star schemas are used. Okay, right. Now you people understand one point very clearly. Star schemas we are going to create mainly. Once we create the star schemas, n number of stars if I combine, then what will get, sir? Then I'll get mixed star schemas will get. 2 star schemas if I connected, then it is called as what, sir? Mixed star schema. What is that we come to understand down the line? Sorry. Yeah, what is the BMM layer is down the line you come to understand. If you see this one, this is called as RPD, right? Inside this one we have the business model and mapping layer. This is what the BMM layer. Learning of this one is nothing but our semantic layer. In our data warehousing architecture, I given semantic layer, I given, right? The semantic layer is nothing but this RPD. Okay, semantic layer in our OBW is called as RPD. Down the line come to understand more clearly about that. Okay, you people understand very clearly one point. That point is in OBI BMM layer we are going to use only star schemas or mixed star schemas we are going to use. Mixed star schemas we are going to use. Yeah, star schema example, if you go and take it, this was the star schema example. Sales facts is the one table is available, fact table, and products, customers, and period. This is what, sir? One of the star. If you want to see live, you can go and you can see the live also. Suppose I have the sales facts, right click on this one, then go for business model diagram, selected tables and direct joins. Whatever available here, this is called as what, sir? Star schema. That means today whatever points we are discussing theoretically, tomorrow we are going to implement those things in our life. Yes or no, sir? So these all points are going to be repeated down the line, but today these all things we need to learn. Why? Because it is a data warehousing concepts. And whatever we are learning as part of the data warehousing concept, that is not only for the OBW property, it is also for what, sir? Any tool in the data warehouse. Any tool in the data warehouse. Am I clear? Right. Now you people understand that point very clearly. Let us move on to the next one. Sorry, whenever. Yeah, that is also correct. What is saying is dimension table, can I call it as a master table? Answer is yes. You can call dimension table, you can call it as master table also in my case. Okay. Suppose product table, it is one of the master table. From that, whatever primary keys are available, that primary key I am using as a foreign key in another one. So at that moment I can call it as this is a master table. For simple example, EMP table is available, DEP table is available. DEP table is what, sir? Master table. EMP table is what, sir? Detail table. EMP table contains a foreign key which is a primary key of what, sir? DEP table. In the DEP table, DEP number primary key. In the employee table, DEP number is what, sir? Foreign key. Wherever foreign key is available, I can call it as detail table. Wherever primary key is available, that is called as what, sir? Master table. That's what the standard rules to identify the masters and detail tables. Okay, let us move on to the next one, that is called as snowflake schema. Snowflake schema. So let us recall once what we learned in the star schema. In star schema we learned these are the properties. First property is in star schema only one fact table is available, centralized fact table, surrounded by what, sir? N number of dimension tables are available. In star schema, centralized fact table surrounded by N number of dimension tables are available. Second point. In star schema, dimension table 1 record is mapped with N number of records in the fact table. Third point. No two dimension tables are directly joined. Fourth point. We are going to use all dimension tables are denormalized tables. Denormalized tables are useful to optimize the reading. That means you can execute the select statement very easily. And sixth point, in OBI BMM layer, we are going to use only star schemas or what, sir? Mixed star schemas. And seventh point, what is seventh point, sir? It is user friendly and it is very easy to understand. So these are the points what you understand. Let us move on to the next one, that is called as snowflake schema. What do you mean by snowflake schema? See this diagram once. Previously, we used to store product relevant data, everything in the single table. Now what happens, sir? Some products data is available here, product subtype data is available here, product type data is available here. Now, one entity corresponding data we are storing not in the single table, we are storing where, sir? In multiple tables we are storing it. If you store like this, and if you join one dimension to another dimension like this, that is called as what, sir? Snowflake schema. However, snowflakes will be there, sir. One snowflake will be there. At the end of this one more snowflake will be coming. Yes or no? At the end of this one more snowflake will be coming. The arrangement of these tables are available like a snowflakes. It is called as snowflake schema. And in the snowflake schema, one dimension table and another dimension table, we have the direct join or not, sir? This is one major difference between star schema and snowflake schema. In star schema, there is no direct join. Here in the snowflake schema, what, sir? There is a direct join. There is a direct join. Next point. In case of star schema, each and every fact table communication will be available directly with the dimension tables. Here what's in the snowflake schema? This one and this one has no direct communication. Communication has to go via subtype, via products, via this one. In case of star schema, what, sir? Each and every dimension table directly communicating with the fact table. In case of snowflake schema, we are using tables. These tables are called as what type of tables, sir? Normalized tables. In case of star schema, what type of tables are you using, sir? Denormalized tables. As we are using normalized table, this is recommended for update purpose. Update purpose we are recommending means what type of database we are recommending, sir? OLTP. In case of denormalized tables we are using over there, that is recommended for reading. That is recommended for what, sir? OLAP. Right. You people understand these all points. In snowflake schema, we are going to use what, sir? Normalized tables. Extended star schema, previously only one product table is available. Now I dragged and I made 3 tables. Previously only one table is available here. I dragged and I made what, sir? 3 tables. Hence it is called as extended star schema. 2-dimension tables will be directly joined. Now, like star schema, it has only one fact table. Both the case, star schema case, snowflake schema case, we have only one fact table. One guarantee important question is available, that is called as I think that point is not covered here. The slide is missed here, sir. Some Google Drive issue is there in my server, sir. Okay, it is not synchronizing properly. Okay, star schema versus snowflake schema. Right. First point here is performance-wise, denormalized tables are good as number of joins are what, sir? Less. That is the main reason. Performance-wise, normalized tables are bad as number of joins are what, sir? More. Denormalized tables we are using here what, sir? Normalized tables. 2-dimension tables are not directly joined. 2-dimension tables are directly joined. All dimension tables are directly connected with fact. Some of the dimension tables are not directly connected with what, sir? Fact. So that is what the major difference between star schema and snowflake schema. It is a guarantee question in the interview. Mainly need to focus on one point, that is performance. In case of star schema, reading performance is what, sir? Good. In case of snowflake schema, reading performance is what, sir? Bad because of the more number of joins. Okay. Now next point, that is called as mixed schema. In the name itself, we are trying to mix it. Yes or no, sir? What we are mixing? I am mixing here, let us say I have one star is available and I have another star is available. These 2 stars if I mix, like this, etc. If I am mixing, then it is called as what, sir? Mixed schema. If I mix, let us say one snowflake schema plus another snowflake schema and like this, etc. a number of snowflakes we are mixing, then it is called as what, sir? Mixed schema. If I mix, let us say one star schema, one snowflake schema and plus something, etc., then it is called as what, sir? Mixed schema. Any combination, n number of stars is called as what, sir? Mixed schema. N number of snowflakes is called as what, sir? Mixed schema. N number of stars plus n number of snows is called as what, sir? Mixed schema. Right. Out of these all things, what is the famous mixed schema is what, sir? Multiple stars is a famous mixed schema. Even in our case also, if we go and see here, our RPD, I am selecting these 2 tables. Right click, business model diagram, selected tables and direct joins. Here returns is the one fact table, sales fact is the one fact table, and we have like this here. Now tell me sometime let us say I am saying as this table is not available. Remaining these all things with respect, this is a fact, these all things are dimensions. These all things are dimensions. Can I call these all five tables are 1 star, sir? If I don't have the sales facts, remaining 5 tables, can I call it as 1 star? No. No, why, sir? I'll go and show it. Only returns I am taking. Business model diagram, selected tables and direct joins. It is a star or not, sir? It is a star only, right? Sorry? Sorry? No, I am saying as if that is not available, I am saying. What I am saying is here, what I am saying is, for example, if it is not available, for example, this table is not available. This table is not available, then remaining all tables is called as what, sir? It is a 1 star schema. Suppose this table is not available and this table also not available. These 2 tables are not available. Then remaining these 4 tables are what, sir? 1 star schema. If you want to see the diagrammatically, see this diagram. See this diagram. Suppose this part is not available, sir. This part is not available. This part is not available. Then remaining all 4 things are called as 1 star or not? Yes. Now, if this part is not available, then remaining all things are called as 1 star or not, sir? Now, all together, can I say, here I have 1 star schema with respect to this fact table. I have 1 star schema with respect to this fact table. Yes or no, sir? These 2 stars we are combining and we are saying as what, sir? Mixed schema. If you want to mix 2 star schemas or 2 snowflake schemas, whatever, you should have a common what, sir? Dimension. You should have a common dimension. The common dimension is called as conformed dimension. The common dimension is called as what, sir? Conformed dimension. Conformed dimension is defined like this. Any dimension table is connected with 2 or more than 2 fact tables. Any dimension table connected with 2 or more than 2 fact tables. Then it is called as conformed dimension. Then it is called as conformed dimension. Okay. Now you people understand what is the meaning of mixed schema. Mixed schema is also known as what, sir? Galaxy schema contains many fact tables with some common dimensions. Common dimensions also known as what, sir? Conformed dimensions. This schema is a combination of many schemas. The famous schema is what, sir? Star plus star combination is famous schema. This is one what we are going to use in our OBAWE. Am I clear? I completed with this data warehousing concepts I completed, sir. Tomorrow onwards we are going to discuss about our OBAWE. As of now we didn't started our OBAWE. Tomorrow onwards we are going to discuss our OBAWE. Am I clear? This was the history of the OBAWE we are starting, and tomorrow onwards we are going to discuss it. Tomorrow means Monday, sir. Tomorrow Sunday, holiday. Again we are going to meet on Monday, 7 to 8. Your OBAWE is going to start. Don't miss the classes. Okay? Thank you. Can we use? Yes. Star schema, that kind of scenario is not there, right? Dimension is not connecting. No. No, we cannot. Correct. The key, if you are here, both are connected, right? That is the reason the properties we can use here. But here, one dimension and other dimension, there is no relationship. Customer is separate, product is separate. Yeah, we cannot link those 2 things. Okay, right. Next. So weekend 3 to 4 hours is next weekend onwards will be starting, sir, not this weekend. Okay, I will be informing to you people when the long class will be there. Okay, today I have actually long class is there. For other batches available. For other batches I have the long class. Okay, now it is going to start OBAWE. I am going to take for them. Okay, right. Thank you. Bye bye.